So do we have any questions or comments about that?
I'm for voter accountability.
It's 2 year. It's a 2-year term now to increase to 4-year terms.
They're wanting to take it to 4, Erwin, is that right? That's what I'm thinking. I just say stay with 2-year terms and leave it in the hands of the voters. If the guy's doing a good guy or girl is doing a good job, well, they'll put them back in. If not, they'll take them out. And a lot of people think we don't have term limits, but I'm telling you, we do have term limits. It's every time there's an election cycle. If the person's doing a good job, you re-vote them in. If they're not, you vote them out. So there are term limits. I don't care what anybody says, and it's in y'all's hands.
Has an issue of accountability ever arisen in the last couple of years? Well, the easiest way, the quickest way to hold an elected official or a emergency service district responsible is to have more power over their office, like Beth's saying. So the shorter term, the better, it seems, if we want to hold some accountability. Are they the same? I don't know. Does anybody know, is a hospital district an emergency district? I would assume it is, but I don't know.
I think when they're talking emergency
They've come up with, there's a new way to tax you guys. Instead of, they all of a sudden have all these different types of special districts, and they have taxing authority. And a lot of times there's a beginning and an end as to how high they can go, but still it's just another, they can levy taxes just like I can.
Any other comments, questions?
I don't understand.
Oh no, I don't do that. I'm fine.
Okay. Proposition 11. The constitutional amendment to prohibit the taking, damaging, or destroying of private property for public use unless the action is for the ownership, use, and enjoyment of the property by the state, a political subdivision of the state, the public at large, or entities granted the power of eminent domain under law, or for the elimination of urban blight on a particular parcel of property, but not for certain economic development or enhancement of tax revenue purposes, and to limit the legislature's authority to grant the power of eminent domain to an entity. This is my thumbnail version. It prevents taking your property to build a football stadium. I think the Cowboys belong in Dallas. This is what is said by the proponents of the amendment. The proposition will provide key protections against abuses of the power of eminent domain by more narrowly and specifically defining the term public use as it applies to eminent domain in the Texas Constitution. The proposition will specifically preclude the taking of private property for economic development or increased tax revenues that would result from the change in use of the property. Those who oppose it say it introduces vague language of possession, occupation, and enjoyment into the Constitution. It could give rise to a wide range of possible court interpretations. It would undermine decades of judicial precedent in the area of the law and introduce uncertainty that could cost taxpayer dollars in the future. Don, I'm sure you have no comment on this proposition.
A bona fide assistant will be at the door when you leave with a card urging you to vote for Proposition 11, because what Erwin says is very true. About 4 years ago, I think now, the Keogh decision went down from the Supreme Court on a Massachusetts case where a piece of property had been condemned by an economic development corporation and resold because they said there could be more jobs and there'd be more tax revenue from that other piece of property by condemning your property or that piece of property and making a better use of it. It's something I can't believe that ever happened in this country from the Supreme Court, but it did. And it really, really changed the way all of us have to look at our property rights, because our property rights are endangered. You just can't imagine the number of entities that are out there that can use eminent domain. I don't know how many we have here, even in Hopkins County. But when you start trying to count the number of entities that can use eminent domain, it's real scary. And certainly this isn't what we need. We've passed some strong legislation the last two sessions of the state legislature, and we failed first to get the governor to sign one because he felt like it might be a burden to taxpayers. And then last time it got caught up in a political battle, and nothing was passed on a lot of fronts. And so we lost it again. But we'd like to see this resolution, this proposition passed by 65 to 70% of the voters in Texas, because it's very important to private property owners. And when you think of private property, it doesn't mean a ranch or a farm. It means your house. If it comes to somebody bulldozing it down and doing something else with it, or condemning it. And certainly there's going to be people that's going to say that it's going to limit the way cities can use eminent domain or condemnation to be able to stop urban blight, where whole neighborhoods are going down. But that's not the point. That's not what's going to happen. They'll still have the right to condemn that property and clean it up if they want to. But certainly it's a property rights issue. It's something that we need to pass, and we need to pass it very, very bad. And we would urge you to go to the polls and vote. Take 2 or 3 people with you and get them to vote for Proposition 11.
This is certainly serving to put more restrictions on the number of entities that can exercise eminent domain. So I would urge you, as Don said, I would urge you to vote for Proposition 11. I think it's very commonsensical. It enhances our property value rights, and it's a good amendment. Do we have any other questions or comments about any of the, either this number 11 or any of the other constitutional amendments? Okay. Yes, sir.
I'd just say that everybody needs to vote. Probably less than 10% of the people in the state are going to vote on these constitutional things. The city of Houston is going to lead the way. There's a mayoral election in the city of Houston this year, and that's probably going to determine which one of these passes and which one of them fails. So just know you need to go vote, and you know you can vote early now, or you can vote November the 3rd. But Houston is going to be the driving force behind every one of these.
I second his comments. Early voting has begun. You can go down to the public library from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And this coming Sunday, the library will be open from 1 to 6, and then all next week, 9 to 5, that you can go and vote. And if you don't have time to do it on Tuesday, November the 3rd, at least do it then. Do it now, so that it will get voted on, because it is very important. Houston is big, and Houston is voting for a mayor, and that can be very disastrous to the rest of the state if they all go out and follow whoever's suggestions, even mine.
Okay, folks, we have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Erwin, I have seen several yard signs about this. I was wondering where you could get a yard sign about that, Proposition 11.
Does anybody have any idea where we can get yard signs to support Proposition 11?
If you need more push cards, Maryland's passing them out, and if you'd like to have a few extras to give to your friends and neighbors, we certainly have plenty of these, and we could have you take a few, and you can write down in the back of it all those other things.
Like Lisa isn't here, is he?
No, Mike's not here
He
tonight.
has a sign just like this in his yard.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know where he got it.
He got it from Farm Bureau. We don't have any of those signs. We're pressing all of our signs, Bill, in the Houston area, urging people in Houston to vote for Proposition 11. We've got 2 on the interstate. I've got some yard signs not with me tonight, but if you want a yard sign to put it up, you can go by the Farm Bureau office and they'll get